Hi, my name is Debbie Aoyemi.
I'm State Senator Eddie Melton.
Williams.
And my name is Kumalai Ogunfami. We're here today to just, finally very happy to have, met with you and the boys, and then we see what you're doing here in Gary. We just wanted to know what inspired you to get into this with the boys in the first place, and why you.
Yeah. Well, first, I want to thank you all for blessing us with your presence here in Gary, Indiana. My entire life I've been just inspired to help motivate and inspire the next generation. So I started a program here at Calumet New Tech High School. We've been teaching about entrepreneurship and leadership. So that's really what you experience with these young men today. And you gave them a lot of knowledge from a global perspective. So look, we want to keep that momentum going.
So where do you think this is going?
Well, for me, we're going to continue to work with these young men. Several of them will be going to college.
Right.
And one of the things I learned going to college, I didn't have a mentor or someone to give me some guidance or direction because I was a first generation young man in my family that went to college.
Wow.
So being prepared for the challenges and issues I was going to encounter and face was something I wasn't personally prepared for. So some of these the brothers are not going to go to college, either going to go to trade school, they're going to take something else up. But we want to be that coach, that guiding voice for them.
So how do you pick the boys when you, like some of them are living, going to college, so how do you pick them out?
We had a great relationship with the superintendent here. So the staff that was here before you guys started, I give them a criteria. I say, hey, look, don't give me the best students. Give me some students that have some issues, that's struggling, they may have some family issues in their past, and we want to help them through those situations. So everyone can use mentoring, but we wanted to give our time and our talent to those that we know that needed it most. So today, my friend Ellis Dumas, he's a mentor. He's a vice president of the Boys and Girls Club. He wasn't able to be here today. Markel Watkins, you'll meet Markel later on today at the fundraiser event. He's a U.S. steel worker, so he's making steel right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then Jeremiah King is a young brother. He's an educator. Jeremiah, he was just wanting to become a mentor, and so we're kind of giving them a multi-generational approach on mentoring.
Okay. How do you balance, you work with, I know you have your own family, from everything you do, a role model for your boys, right? So how do you balance that fatherhood to your own sons, biological sons, and the boys you mentor?
Yeah, I incorporate my sons in many of the activities that we do. For example, we went to NBA basketball games and any other field trips. I bring them along with us. Even my sons would need a mentor, right? Because we all know we don't listen to our parents 100% of the time, right? And sometimes you receive things differently from another adult. So, the other men that's helping me is helping my sons, right? So it's kind of like exactly that. And that's extremely helpful. And I have daughters as well, and I try to invest in young men to create the type of young men I would want to see my daughter, right? So I'm doing other mothers and children a favor. I'm trying to be, right? But the one thing about mentoring, and you can't be too proud, you got to say this. You want to serve as an individual that's helping them achieve success. You're not the person that helped them achieve success. You're one of many. Yeah, you're one of many.
Hold something on them, so to say, just want them to be able to bring out their passion, help them through that.
Yep.
So beyond the mentoring program, are there other things you do in Gary? Programs that you run in Gary?
Well, being a state senator, it's a full-time job. As you ride around, and I'm sure Ms. Rollins is giving you a thorough tour of the city, and we had this in our interview, and I talked about just the history of Gary and Right now, we're just trying to revitalize it, breathe life, new life into the city, bring new businesses, bring new residents into the city. You know, we're 30 minutes from downtown Chicago, one of the world's largest economies, right? 2 years ago, I passed a law that allowed us to have a new casino here. You know, a lot of folks are not into gaming, and I'm not a gambler. However, I do know that the folks from the Chicagoland area come to our city, and they, you know, go to shows, they go to concerts, and then all those type of things. So right now, I'm in the process of trying to build an entertainment district for a movie theater. You know, we're a city, 79, 80,000 people. We don't have a movie theater, right? So we're just trying to create that type of an environment that make folks want to have a good quality of life.
Okay. Before we go into serious stuff like that, we're gonna go back to what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay. So I know you have stuff for the boys. What about the girls?
You know,
Who's taking care of them? What's their mental?
I support a lot of young ladies and women that's doing that type of work in the community.
Okay.
There's several sororities and organizations that provide those type of services. Either I'm going to give my personal resources of time or try to help support those organizations. So, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing because, you know, most times working with boys, you get that question every time. You know, so what's going on with the girl child? But the honest truth is, first of all, on the very bigger platform, you have so many organizations working with the girls.
For the girls, yeah.
Right? However, you know, I learned this years ago. My response has always been, we do this for the girls. Because if you get the guys right, you get the
girls will be
yeah. So, you know, what we do prior to now is that we're raising the fine girls, you know, graduated at 16, did everything, then you're going to meet the crazy guy.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, all the effort, the investment, and everything that's gone into that process is
Goes down the
wasted
drain.
because this young man is coming
Just
in
came and ruined them.
and ruined everything.
Right. Yeah.
So that's, then I'm going to ask you a question. That brings up something for me. Now, for years, and this actually is big on my heart. For years, you had the International Day of the Girl Child, right? Has been approved by the United Nations. You know, so when I got into this newly, the first thing I was asking, why is there no day that is dedicated to the boy child? Right? There's nothing like that. So through my research, I discovered that there's what an organization called Plan Africa, Plan International, is in is in Canada. So one of the politicians at that point actually spearheaded the process of getting the International Day of the Girl Child, globally and approved by the United Nations. So one of the things I said I was going to talk to you about, right, is that we can use the same process and the same format and your office right now for us to get something like that approved by the United Nations. There is something like that online now, but not yet approved by the United Nations.
Gotcha. Which
means that the Boys and Girls Club of America, Boy Scouts and all of that do not recognize that. But when it comes from the United Nations, they recognize it.
That's good.
So how do we do that? How do we get that done, right? I read something about somebody that got clemency under President Trump.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I applaud the work you did on that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So we can use all of those same process because you already know what it takes and what it means. You know, to go to UN and all of those things. I go to UN every year, you know, in and out, but we've not been able to solidify that, probably because there's nobody like that has the kind of office you have to push that.
You know, you hit on a lot of important things, right? And I think when it comes down to international leadership, it all starts with servant leadership, right? I don't let my title dictate what I do or where I go, right? However, I do understand that it opens up doors for me to have conversations with influential folks and people of influence and power to make change, right? So if we don't use our influence, right, social media influencers or whatever the case may be, what is it for? I had a mentor of mine tell me, he said, look, You may go downstate, they might celebrate you, give you awards and stuff like that. But if your people are still suffering, what was it all for, right? So at the end of my term, or whenever I finish being an elected official, if I can't look back and see any progress or improvement, you know, what was that for? Yeah, what was it all for? Now, that doesn't mean that I didn't try and didn't fight.
Yeah.
Right? And we're in a state where it's extremely hard to get those, you know, to get progress for people of color, let alone black Hoosiers. They call Indiana folks Hoosiers.
Okay. Yeah.
To get economic access, to get greater quality of education, better health care, you know. So it's a never-ending fight. All our people want to see is, are you going to fight for me?
Yeah.
Are you going to fight?
That's all they want to hear.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line for them. That's what, at the end of the day, determines what they eat, how to clothe themselves, where they live in. That's the bottom line for them. And I wanted to ask a question in line with that, because I wanted to go to that goal of yours that you're looking at, which is rebuilding Gary. What are you looking at in terms of the economic development? What exactly?
Right.
You talked about entertainment.
Yeah.
What kind of investors are you looking to attract? What kind of people are you looking to attract?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm a believer that you have to build up the people within. I believe historically the community has been waiting on that next big business, right? There's no knight in shining armor that's going to come in and just save the city, right? There's no one industry that's going to save a city. This city was built because of one industry, steel. Steel they've changed how they do steel, right? They don't need the manpower like they used to. It's the technology, the enhancements. So that should teach us a lesson. Don't become reliant on one particular industry, right? So diversifying our industries, building up entrepreneurs, but the reality is we need to have a tax base, right? So you gotta build the internal folks, build those entrepreneurs up, make sure they have the resources and the skill set, make sure you have a good solid workforce, educational system, right? Now let's start looking at bringing in larger corporations that's going to build a facility to contribute back to the tax base.
When you have the qualified
workers and the atmosphere. Yeah, absolutely.
What about also with what you're doing right now, the entrepreneur program, just having some kind of an entrepreneur-based program where you sponsor indigents that are willing to start businesses in Gary?
Absolutely. Right now we're in the conversations with the Biden administration on the small business administration being more prevalent in Gary. So I've just reached out to the White House. I said, where you guys at? I haven't seen you in Gary in the last 2 years. So I'll be working with them. We'll be having a small business roundtable. We want to hold the banks accountable, right? Because we know that banks are not lending to black businesses at the rate that they are to other cultures. And that needs to change. You know, there are federal laws that says that you have to give so much to certain communities, the Community Reinvestment Act. So that's, you know, we have to have that a level of accountability to corporations, a level of accountability to communities, for them to give back to communities, not just in jobs, not just in philanthropic efforts, but also in supplier diversity, right? So if I'm a corporation or a company and I'm providing tissue, well, you know, somebody had to provide the tissue. Somebody had to provide the hand sanitizer that's there. Somebody had to provide the bottle of water. Why don't you let this brother provide it to your company? You got to get it from somewhere. He lives here, his family's here, his children go to school here. So this company that's allows you to be a supplier, that changes generational wealth for families, right? So now you're creating and empowering businesses. So to me, it's a holistic approach.
Yeah.
I also know, I also know that there are a lot of rich black people that have been, I know there's this talk around blacks looking to rebuild the black community and then just bring it together. I told you I serve as a board advisor on with a VC company in Washington, and basically what they're looking is all black members of the board looking to rebuild that entrepreneurship skills and experiences of black founders, right? So bringing those kinds of people in and saying, hey, I have this set of boys that have the skills.
Yeah.
They have the skill set, they have the knowledge, they're ready to go into business. How do you fund them? How do you help them so much so that their investments sit here and get?
Right.
Because like you said, it starts from within.
Yeah.
Before you bring investors, you attract people, you really have to show to them that you have something within you that they're looking for.
You hit it on the head. One of the things that I think we have to do better is network.
Right?
Not only network, but support each other too.
Yes.
Right? Investing in each other, building and connecting the dots and relationships.
Right.
I think that's going to help us identify those venture capitalists, identify somebody that's passionate about specific areas. If I don't go out and start selling Gary, a lot of folks may not ever hear about it.
Yeah.
So I've been intentionally going across the country and telling our story. And you said it earlier, we got to change the narrative.
Yeah.
Because some of the narrative people believe of the criminal element, the blight, right? The impoverished. But you're going to see some areas you're like, wow. And when you ride around, you're going to be amazed when you see the lakefront. It's a cloudy day, but on a clear day, you can see the skyline of Chicago. Right? So that's my mission, right? To go out and be an ambassador for the city. And I want to help build mentors and reach out to other young professional emerging leaders to say, hey, here's how we can be an ambassador to help build within. You know?
You mentioned something about in the area of entertainment, right? And you know, I think one of the things as well, like you're already doing, showcasing Gary to the world, is to start bringing some big events to Gary. You know, it's just 30 minutes away from Chicago, and we have quite a lot of people, so we have to start exposing it at that level. Say, hey, we're having this conference this year. Last year, I went to a conference somewhere in Utah. Never been to Utah before, right? That particular conference is supposed to be held in New York, but somebody said, no, let's take it to Utah. And we took it to Utah, it's cold and all of those things. But we had it, and it was a fantastic one. Guess what? Economic empowerment to the community, the hotels, the Uber guys,
Absolutely.
the restaurant, everybody. Right.
That my friend Dame Dash, that's one of his favorite. Everybody gonna eat, and I never hide the plug. Never hide the plug. If I can connect you with somebody, you can make you can connect the dots.
Right.
Why am I have the plug? Let everybody get a chance to eat in that regard. So again, I just appreciate you all being here. If it's something I can do to help you in your communities or where you all live, let us know.
All right.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much.
And anything
Thank
you need us to help you out with Gary, we're here.
We're here for Gary.
We're here for Gary.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're here for Gary.
We thank Ms. Rollins for that.
Thank you.
The dreams and aspirations that we do have is to be able to help Gary get to where they want to be, grow economically, bring people back to the city. It's a beautiful city. She took us around, very beautiful, lots of potentials here, and we're just here to see how we can help. Anything that you
partner, support,
with,
you know.
support.
Yeah.
Any platform you want us to go to bring people in, we're big on that. And we're Africans, right? We're black.
Yep.
we're also looking to have some kind of a community where we can have a community of
Absolutely.
Africans and see. We don't know if Gary will be